The Modi government has been cracking down on Pakistan terror. But in one of the most significant steps, the government has now said any future act of terror will be treated as an act of war.
अगर पाकिस्तान ने फिर से आतंकी गतिविधि या सैन्य दुस्साहस दिखाया तो हम उसका मुंह तोड़ जवाब देंगे.
It is Pakistani actions that have constituted provocation and escalation. In response, India has defended and reacted in a responsible and measured fashion.
So what exactly does that mean? What is an act of war? Let's break that down for you. By definition, act of war under international law is referred to as an action by a state or military force that's considered a deliberate provocation or aggression, potentially leading to war. These acts typically violate peace agreements or international law and signal aggression or military intent. So what classifies as an act of war? Armed attacks on a nation's military or civilians, invasion of territory, bombing or airstrikes, naval blockades, cyber attacks, and also supporting militant groups or terrorism across the border, which is where Pakistan fits right in. So from the above list I've mentioned, it's clear that terror easily falls in this bracket. But what does it actually achieve to declare an act of terror as an act of war? Let's break down how the term act of war is recognized internationally. So this is according to the UN Charter, Article 2.4. Using force against territorial integrity or political independence of any state is prohibited. So when a nation declares a hostile action by another country as an act of war, it signals that it may now respond with military force or self-defense as permitted under international law. So what happens when a country declares an act of war? So when a country formally goes ahead and makes that declaration, a series of legal, military and diplomatic consequences arise. We'll break that down step by step. First, military. All the defense forces and military assets will be put on high alert, and increased troop presence will be ensured at the borders in order to carry out defense or retaliatory action. All air defense mechanism will be initiated along with setting up naval blockades. The government may announce suspension of certain civil liberties or even consider enacting emergency laws. The conflict will go international, involving the United Nations and other allies. The allied countries will have to raise their stance on the issue, either supporting or condemning it. Various diplomatic talks, therefore, will have to be carried out, and this can also lead to imposition of sanctions against the country that's violating the rule. Though act of war is not a full-blown conflict or a war, there will be a high risk of escalation for it to turn into one. Acts such as ground invasions, multiple airstrikes, counter-airstrikes, infrastructure damage, attack on civilians will lead to escalation. Now, the country may also witness nationwide curfews, a blackout, sirens, evacuations, all of it sounds familiar. Public services like internet, food, fuel might even be stopped temporarily if it goes to that extreme. Now, censorships on media might be imposed to maintain privacy about the country's defense actions. Both the countries have to abide by the Geneva Conventions, which are a set of international treaties that aim to limit brutality of war. They regulate the conduct of armed conflict and humanitarian protection of war victims. For India, Operation Sindoor is the new normal, and so any Pakistani terror act will be met with a counter and a fitting response. You saw that many of the mentions that I made of the kind of actions that have been taken were part of Operation Sindoor, which is why the government has said this doctrine is the new normal.